Hello. Okay, so as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, you are taught to pray about everything. Prayer fixes everything. The test you're about to take, a promotion at work, unless it's going to take you away from the ministry, a bad relationship, a scary decision. Frankly, this is not uncommon amongst most people that are religious. People pray. They pray, and they pray. And as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, you pray a lot. But sometimes, just sometimes, Jehovah answers those prayers. So this week I'm going to do a mixture of what my parents did right and how Jehovah sometimes answered my prayers. So the first thing that I want to talk about is my mother. I've mentioned her in a few videos that probably she wouldn't appreciate because it doesn't put her in the best light, but she did choose that light. As I've said in my other videos, we can't change what happened. Even if she wishes she hadn't done those things, I refuse to tweak the history just to make her feel better. I don't do it for myself. I won't do it for anyone else. A lot of the reasons I've told those stories is to give examples of some of the negative aspects of being one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and really how much they influence our parents, our households, and us. But I also wanted to clarify that not everything was all bad. We had a lot of good memories as kids. We were extremely poor, and yet every year my parents took us to either Knott's Berry Farm and SeaWorld or Disneyland. We once drove to Canada. Keep in mind, these were all in correlation with assemblies. That's how Jehovah's Witnesses get their family vacations in. Still to this day, being as poor as we were, usually a one-income family, because somebody's got to pioneer, I don't know how my parents afforded those things. In part, it was because my mom was a baller on a budget. And we didn't do things that were high-end. Yes, we went to Disneyland and the assembly. But oftentimes we camped at the beach instead of hotels. They would save up money in the little piggy bank we would buy once a year in Mexico. You know, the lead piggy banks that you weren't supposed to be using anymore. Yeah, those ones. And my mom would put money in it, and my dad, she did the budget, so I don't know how she did it. I really don't. I just know that once a year when the time came, whoever was the littlest of the family, and she was a breeder, so there was always a little one, they would get the hammer. And sometimes they could barely walk on their own, much less with this thing. And they would get to break over the piggy bank. We would all dive in for the money and start splitting out the ones, the tens. There'd be hundreds in there. I had no idea how they managed to do this, but they did. My point is not everything was all bad. And then we would take that money. My mom would count it out. Her and my dad would discuss what we could afford to do with it. And we would go on cool vacations / assemblies, obviously. It was a rough childhood in the fact that my parents did not know how to discipline and therefore were abusive. But that doesn't mean they were hateful, maybe just stupid. I don't know. I probably shouldn't have said that. I love you, Dad. He'll never see this. But I'm always telling my husband, who also had a very rough and demented childhood, that it's important to acknowledge, at least for our own peace of mind, things that were good. So for instance, one thing my mom did very well was she did have a lot of kids, and again, we didn't have a lot of money, so she would try to figure out ways to reward us when they really couldn't afford to reward all of us. So for instance, when they first got married and it was just my younger sister, myself, and my older brother, he was a pretty obedient kid. You wouldn't think so for as much as he got his ass beat, but that kid was obedient. My sister was the baby and got away with everything. So she didn't have a lot of chores and things to do. I was pretty much lazy and careless, not easily bribed. So anyways, at one point my mom made a chore chart. Whoever got all their stars for the week would get to go out for a root beer float. I never went out for a root beer float. My sister didn't either. My brother got to go on root beer float dates with her. And even though I was very, very young, I was even 5 and 6 when this was happening, I realized at a certain point, it was on purpose. That was her way of having one-on-one time with him. So that was something she did that was good. And once I realized that, I was okay with it. It didn't bother me. He needed that. So one day, years later, I'm sleeping and I suddenly feel, and I will tell you, this woman could be evil when it came to waking you up in the morning. If you didn't get up the first time, you got a cup of water thrown at you or your mattress flipped. Oh, the 80s. So I feel a presence in the room and I don't move, don't open my eyes, I don't nothing. And then I hear a creepy whispering voice. Cassie. Yeah, they called me that. Cassie, wake up. Oh, hell no. Because I didn't know what it was going to be. And that does show some of the psychological dysfunction there, that when your parent wants you to wake up, you're like, why? What are you going to do to what's happening? But in any case, do you want to go wash the car with me? What? Just you and I.
Building castles in the sky, just the two of us, you and I.
What? Shh. The thing is, we had a really huge family. Eventually would have 7 kids, and so having one-on-one time with either parent was very scarce. And so that tingy part of me that, wanted it was like, yeah, I think I'll go. So I got up, she, just told me, shh, got my clothes on. We got in the car. Now, I should premise this with my mom was a huge health nut. We were red meat vegetarians, which means we ate some chicken and mostly fish, but never steak, bacon, pork, steak. Oh, let me tell you, I make up for lost time now. I can eat 2 pounds of bacon in a sitting. My heart loves me. But she was very healthy. A lot of I don't want to call them fads, but a lot of the lifestyles people have now, I guess I shouldn't call them fads because I happen to have a child that is a plant-based eater. And it is a lifestyle. But before people were vegan and pterodactyl eaters, I don't know, whatever, I don't know what else they have out there. My mom was big on the red dye number 7. How much sugar is in this? So in our household, we drank water. And if we wanted a really special treat, we drank water not from the hose. And my dad worked for the water company, so he thought tap water was the best thing ever. I still drink tap water. But we had no sugar in the house, no cakes, none of the things that normal people would have in their home. When she made a cake, which the first time my kids saw this, they were like, what the hell? She frosted it with honey, a healthier substitute. And I do have to give her props because probably a lot of the reasons that my body and system functions the way it does today is probably because that foundation that she gave me. Oh, Christ. Isn't that what all ex-Jehovah's Witnesses say about their character, morality, and integrity? It was my foundation. I'm still going to stick with that. I feel it did me well. My dad says the same thing. We didn't like it, but look how strong I am. It's because your mother, she made us eat well. And he's probably right. My whole point is, before we go to get the car washed, we stopped at a convenience store, and she picked up a pack of string cheese and powdered donuts, and I believe eggnog. I loved eggnog. And of course, my eyes are like this. And she tosses me a thing of donuts, string cheese. String cheese was a big thing in our house. We loved it, but it was like really expensive. And she just proceeded to talk to me like just we're everyday friends. And we chit-chatted on the way over to getting the car washed. And I helped her wash the car. I'm trying to like politely eat the donuts. Like I don't want to just snort the whole thing up my nose. Okay, that was not a good gesture. That I was going to say to put the whole tube of the donuts. But anyways. Okay. And we had a great time. And that was her way of getting just to be able to spend one-on-one time with me. And I appreciated things like that. And I don't even think I did that well enough with my kids. But Jehovah answered a prayer for me that day too. I was so itchy. I couldn't figure out what it was. Look at that. Look, do you see how memories work? Because I'm getting itchy just thinking about it. I started getting really itchy on my stomach. I almost just said tummy.
My tummy was really itchy and you was itching a lot.
But anyway, so my stomach was itching and my immediate thing was like, oh my God, what if I'm allergic to sugar? This is more, I finally get like some sugar, like what if I'm allergic to, what if it's the eggnog? Turns out I had the measles. We weren't sure at first 100% what I had. As my mom puts it, I don't know, there's like 2 years of my life I don't remember. So she was never sure if we had the measles, the chicken pox. So we didn't know what it was. And with all those kids in the house, I swear to God, it better not be tummy lice. But the whole time we were trying to figure out what I had, I was like, oh God, this is how much we wanted attention in our household. Please, Jehovah, let it be measles. Please, Jehovah, let it be measles. Please, Jehovah, let it be measles. Because any of you who come from a fairly big family know that there's not a lot of attention going around. It's spread thin. But the sick kids always got attention. My little sister faked chronic heartburn until last week. She never had to mow the lawn, pick up the dog poop, or anything else she deemed icky. Now this ass like has a farm and is rolling around with pigs and chickens, and so much for her heartburn. So I wanted the measles so bad. A, didn't want to go to school. B, didn't have to go to meetings. C, got all of the attention. So I got the measles. And it sucked. Boy, was it worth it. My mom also tried to be the cool mom. So, again, I was an angel of a child. I just would like to make that very clear. But back in the day, when I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken, I normally would work a 6-hour shift. My parents always thought I worked a double life. So on this particular day, I worked my 6 hours, changed my clothes, and went to a party for the next 6 hours. I don't know what I was thinking because I was bombed. Get back to work and the managers are like putting whatever eye drops in my eyes. They're like, you look messed up. And I'm like, I'm fine. It'll be fine. I'm like doing the breath mint thing and gum and waiting for my mom who's going to pick me up. It's like 11 o'clock. And she gets in, picks me up, drives me home. And when we leave the main street, there's a couple of miles that leads back to our house. I mean, it's a neighborhood. There's houses and things around it. But you got a good couple mile stretch. She pulls the car over. And I was 16, I believe, at the time, but I didn't have a license yet. She pulls over the car, and I'm thinking, oh my God, she knows. That's the thing about my mom. She never knew. She never knew if we were stoned. My dad's like, they're stoned. Oh my God, you're so dramatic. It's allergies. If my dad was like, she's hungover. Oh my God, can't you cut these kids some slack? She has the flu. My dad always knew. He always knew. So she pulls over the car and I'm like, oh my God, she knows. No. Looks at me and was like, why don't you take the wheel and drive the rest of the way home? I'm seeing double. I'm already starting to feel sick. That was one of my earlier lessons on eat before you drink. But I knew in my head, no 16-year-old is going to deny the privilege of driving. Especially when you have a parent that is such a rule follower, is saying like, you know what, here, take the keys. You know, you got to practice sometime. Like, you can tell she's all trying to be the cool mom. So I'm like, yeah, right. And we always had big, like either Suburbans or minivans, good pioneer vehicles. So I somehow stumble. I know I tripped in the back of the vehicle, hit my leg on the hitch, managed to square myself up, get in. She's like, so you're just going to accelerate? And we'd driven vehicles here and there before, like on our property, but very, very little. So I'm accelerating, and I miss driving, and I am, every muscle in my body is stone. I am freaking out internally that I am about to kill us. Make it down the road, turn onto our street, turn into our property. I see the carport. It's in sight, kind of. You know that whole drive. I am promising Jehovah everything under the sun. I promise you, just get me home. I will never do this again. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you. Get under that carport where the air conditioning system to the house is at the end of the carport. And then she does the brake, 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 brake. So I do, slam my foot on the accelerator. I thought I screamed, turned out it was her. Right before I hit the air conditioning unit, I find the brake with both feet, slam down on it. I literally turn off the key, throw it at her. Like, I'm never doing that again. She's not sensing, obviously, that I'm drunk. Shouldn't be driving. She just laughs hysterically. She's like, oh, Cassie, You'll be fine, sweetheart. You'll get used to it. We'll do it again sometime. Right. So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of good memories mixed in there too, and times that she was putting forth an effort and probably doing the best that she could. Do I think that there's some mental illness in there? Yeah. My dad, on the other hand, man, he knew anytime anything was going on. When I was probably 6 years old, my health food loving mother loved liver and onions. I hate liver. Hate. I know I'm not alone in this. How most of you feel about liver and onions? Same. So she made her typical liver and onions. I think I've explained before, she could not cook. Every meal, my dad said the same thing. Oh man, babe, this is the best. Yeah, come on, eat. Oh man, you are the best. I love you. Please stop encouraging her. Sorry, Mom, but you couldn't cook. That's okay. Liver and onions. Our parents were the whole cleaning the plate. There's people starving in China. I once suggested they mail it to them. That did not go over well. Usually we ate whatever was put in front of us. I mean, we all have food issues now, and we all sit around talking about the food issues that we have based on some of these stupid rules. But because this is a positive video about the good things, we're not going to talk about that right now. I didn't have a big piece of liver on my plate, but I couldn't eat it. It was gross. It gagged me. It smelled like, liver. And so I took my piece of liver when nobody was looking, and I pushed it in the bottom of the trash can, or the side of the trash can. Now, we weren't big dessert people in our house, as I think I mentioned before, but we had special occasions. Once in a while, like if there was a sale or something, my mom would pick up some ice cream, but it was generally sherbet or like frozen yogurt. And we had vanilla ice cream that night. We were each going to get a scoop of ice cream if we finished our disgusting liver. So I hid the liver. Finished my plate. My mom's like, very good, Cassie. Would you want to get your ice cream now? My dad's like, She didn't eat it. She ate her liver. Did you eat your liver, sweetie?
Yes, I ate the liver, and the liver was good. I like the liver.
She didn't eat the liver. She just said she ate the liver.
I ate the liver.
And he knew. Man, he knew. I still don't know how he knew things, but he knew. So my dad could be a little extreme. So he proceeds at first to just kind of pick through the top of the can. He knows I didn't eat the liver. I know I didn't eat the liver. Jehovah knows I didn't eat the liver. The moment he starts looking, I'm doing what we always do. Please, Jehovah, I will do anything. I will eat the liver next time. Because different from me, my parents did believe in corporal punishment. And I was scared to death. And again, this had to be around the 5 age group. Maybe 6, but I think 5. Now my dad gets digging. Up to here at this point. He's gonna find the freaking liver. That man is nothing if not determined when he knows he's right. I don't know where I get that from. So he's digging and digging. His extremist side kicks in. The trash can is now on its side. He's on his hands and knees, and he is digging. He is pulling shit out. He is pulling it out, looking at every little piece. So he's digging, and 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 he's slowing down and still digging. I swear to God, I was convinced that Jehovah felt so bad for me that he removed the liver. The liver was gone. I'm staring at it. There should be some liver in there. It is not there. He finally resolved himself. I can tell in his face he knew, but he couldn't figure out what the hell. But he knew. But he folded. Okay, I can't find the liver.
I told you I ate the liver.
My mom gave me 2 scoops of ice cream for that. But when my dad knew, he knew. Like, I used to try to get out of going to meeting because we had to have our book bags all together. Be prepared. I didn't want to go to a meeting. I told my mom I couldn't find my book. And she said if you can't find that book, you are not going to the meeting. Is that all it takes? I can't find my book all the time then. My dad knew. He just knew. I don't know how he knew, but he knew I was full of crap. I hid the book. So we had built-in dressers. Or maybe the dresser was just in the closet. Now that I think of it. Yeah, I think the dresser was just in the closet. Look at me being all fancy. We had built-in dressers. No, we had a rickety old thing was in the closet. And I had pulled out the drawer, the bottom drawer, and then I put the book in the dresser, and then I put the drawer back in. You aren't finding this book. I am crying at this point because I just want to go to a meeting and serve Jehovah. I don't know where my book is. Oh, my dad went through that room. He is tearing it up. He is flipping things, the bed, he's under the mattress, and he's getting closer to the closet, and he's opening up all the drawers, and he's staring, and he's looking, and I'm back into,
Deliver.
oh, frick, he's pissed. And he stops, and he looks at me, looks at the dresser. I'm thinking the whole human lie detector thing. I must have had some kind of body language. Slightly widened eyes, shaking a little bit. You know when you're a kid and you're playing hot and cold when you're trying to find something? My body language is like, hot, hot, you're on fire, you're burning, it's right there, oh my God. That man just goes down, pulls out that bottom drawer, grabs the book. Oh, I'm in trouble now. And I'm still pissed at Jehovah. He did not answer my prayer about that book. I guess it was harder to hide the book than it was that little piece of liver. See, he does have limitations. But my dad, man, he always knew. Nowadays, my favorite thing to do is when we visit is to tell him all the times that he was right. And he basically laughs it off. He thinks it's hysterical, but he's like, oh, yeah, I know. I told your mother. I said, they're liars. So yeah, we torment him now with all the things that we did get away with that he couldn't do anything about. As Mom said, she believed us. Anyhow, I just think it's a good idea for all of us, despite any kind of negativity we have, to sometimes remember some of the funnier things that have happened in our lives. Some of the more quirkier things that have happened in our life. And in our family, I don't know how, but we managed to turn even the most negative crap into somehow really, really badly inappropriate jokes. But it still makes us laugh. I'm always terrible at remembering to say this, so give me kudos for remembering. If you enjoyed this video or any of my other videos, don't forget to subscribe. So I'm still working on doing a little bit of reading in the Shepherd the Flock of God. Shepherd the Flock of God. And because I am very old school, that's PC. For I like hard copy. I went ahead and have printed it out. Dork alert. Nice chapters labeled so I can find them easily. And so I'm working on a couple of videos on my opinion of this lovely, lovely secret confidential manual that is used to run and control the Jehovah's Witness congregation. So hopefully I'll have those ready for you in the near future. And until then, I'll see you next time.